I'm not sure I'd be a gamer were it not for DayZ now, to be honest.
It's time to start running!
I've got a lot of bullets. You should probably come out with your hands up. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals.
How would you describe DayZ to somebody who hasn't played it?
It's not a game where you have rules and things you have to do.
You're too clever.
I had to kill him because I needed new shoes. It's basically a canvas for you to do what you want on. It's the most multiplayer game there is, and that's the thing that I really love about DayZ. Thank you very much. LuvU Bye. I used to be an addicted gambler. I got myself into debt. I was in so much trouble, ruining my life. What drove me into editing and the streaming was a need to get away from horse racing and gambling and odds. About the time I got Twitch partnered, I was saying to my ex, I know I've caused this debt, but I genuinely believe this is the way that I'm going to get out of it. I'll work full time, I'll do this on the side, and in a few years it'll be gone. 6 months after that, I'd cleared all the debt.
Wow. Do you know a little bit more about DayZ 2?
I went to Prague in 2024 and I went again this year to where the game is made and met the devs. The year before, they were much more forthright on the fact that there was no thought of DayZ 2. This time they wanted to talk to us about Badlands, but this time there was a twinkle in their eye. The only thing I can say, for whatever reason, I got the feeling that DayZ 2 is...
Paul, such a pleasure to have you on the show. It's been a long time coming, and I'm so thankful, that you found the time to come on the show. I'm so excited to talk to you, actually. I'm a big fan of your work, a big fan of DayZ. Believe it or not, the podcast channel started with me playing with a friend of mine, DayZ, so I think there's a lot to talk about. First things first, how are you feeling? How are you doing? How's everything going for you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Quite a lot has changed for me in the last while. So I'm fairly newly single and I'm trying to be healthy and feeling pretty good, actually. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Interesting. Well, I don't know if I should say congratulations or not, but if you're doing good.
No, yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a word I've used a lot lately. It's been quite a tumultuous time, but I'm feeling all right, actually. Yeah, getting there.
Well, I'm happy for you. The most important thing is that you're feeling good and you're feeling happy. I want to start this conversation with a question that I think probably you can answer it best. I've tried my best to answer it, but I think your aid here would be, most welcome. And that question is, how would you describe DayZ to somebody who hasn't played it? And I'm asking this personally for myself because I have a lot of friends to whom I've explained DayZ, I've showed a few videos, and I just can't lure them in. And so perhaps you might guide me in the right direction.
I don't know if I'm qualified for that. Well, maybe I am, but
you are.
I guess really DayZ is like the antidote to years of playing games like Call of Duty and others, which are very linear and very structured in that you must complete this task. And I used to love Call of Duty and I like forever playing hardcore search and destroy and like, I'm going to go down the left lane on ambush and the left lane on ambush over and over and over again. It's like the antidote to that in that it's not a game where you have rules and things you have to do. It's basically a canvas for you to do what you want on. And that's the thing that I really love about DayZ. I'm not sure I'd be a gamer were it not for DayZ now, to be honest, because I was coming to the end of my tether with first-person shooters and linear rules and such like. But with DayZ, it's the most multiplayer game there is. But equally, it's on you to imagine what you want to do. And that's the beauty of it. There's nobody giving you a rule. It's not like you're playing Fallout 4 and yet another settlement needs your help. It's not so linear. You can decide what you want to do. You can make your own little missions and what happens can be different every day. I've been playing the game since early 2014 and stuff happens even today that's never happened before. It's the most multiplayer game, but the choice of what you do is on you. So basically the game is a blank canvas and you get to paint your story on it and you can make it up as you go along, do whatever you want to do. And it's just so much more interesting than anything else for me personally. I love it.
Right. Well, that's beautifully said. And I'm going to quote you on all the things that you said. I'm going to just post that, as a voice memo to my friends. But I agree with you. To be honest, there are, especially lately, let's say in the past 5 years, there's rarely a game that could captivate me as much as, for example, DayZ did. And DayZ has been captivating me for years and years. I mean, I can't say that I've been playing the Arma mod. I know that it originated from that. I started playing when it came out, in standalone, but I couldn't wait for it to come out. And before even playing it, I knew that this game would be, so adventurous, where, like you said, it's a canvas to create your own adventures. But what discourages some of my friends, for example, is the fact that it's so slow. They're saying, oh my God, it's so slow. You have to travel like 20 minutes to get to one point. Then it's dark and you can't find a gun. And then you need to find the mag, and then you need to find the right bullets. And in my mind, I'm like, well, that's so freaking cool.
It's kind of the point. Like, I guess it is slower, but there's different strokes for different folks, I guess. But if you go through that time and you put that effort in, it's a lot easier if you've got a buddy playing in Discord so you can talk, like back before I had a YouTube channel, I used to play on a Friday night with a couple of guys that I'd met in the game, and you can have a really good time just talking and shooting the shit and doing whatever you're doing. But part of it is the amount of time you have to put in, the effort to get the character where it needs to be is what then gives you the kind of heart racing moments when someone's trying to take that away from you and you're getting shot at and you weren't expecting it, like you need to have the time invested for it to mean something. And that's one thing that DayZ does well, is that when you are getting shot at or when you're in PvP, yes, it's slower, but it's a lot more meaningful, because if you die, you've got to do all that effort again. You've lost it all. You've got to start from scratch. And some games replicate it very well, like, say, Escape from Tarkov replicates it very well. Yeah. But only in the early stages of a wipe, to me anyway. People love that game, and it's the best tactical shooter on PC for sure. But when you've got the traders ranked up and you've got to a certain level, it loses that feeling of like, oh, if I escape with this, I just killed that guy. I can't even build this gun. But if I can get out with it, that'll be amazing, You get that same feeling early stages of Tarkov, but DayZ gives you that every time you play it, which is maybe just not quite as often. That's the thing. It needs some patience.
It does need some patience. But I mean, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, the whole story is like you are going to die in that game, right? Yeah. It's just what you make of the story. It's like, I don't know if you played Project Zomboid.
I should have done. People keep asking me to play it. The whole top-down kind of graphics thing, I never felt like it would be great for me to stream, but it's probably something I would play.
Personally, yeah, definitely. But you know what? Just to take a tangent here, a friend of mine who loves that game, who introduced me to it years ago, and this was when the graphics were really kind of weird on that game. It was 2D, now it's 3D. And my goodness, the adventure we had was absolutely, and keep having every once in a while, are really crazy. And like you said, probably start personally, but eventually, if you do play with friends on it, there's a lot of cool adventures and a lot of things to explore there. So anyways, but the whole point why I'm talking about Project Zomboid is because the game starts by saying, this is the story of how you died. Whether you like it or not, you're going to die in the game. Yeah. And so I think DayZ is really like that. And no other game really compares in the level of anxiety I get when I play the game. Like my heart is pounding at points when I hear a player is nearby, or I don't know, you're in the dark and there's the woods. I have never experienced emotions like that. Like legitimate, I'm just sweating, But I'm not as experienced as you in DayZ, obviously. But do you still get those moments?
What, the heart racing moments?
Yeah, the heart race, the anxiety,
Yes and yes, but when things are out of the blue. So if I'm at a military base and there's a firefight, no. Not because I'm so confident I'm going to win. I don't think I'm the best PvPer on Twitch or anything, or on YouTube. So far from it. But you're just used to those kind of situations. But when something crops up where you're not expecting it, something really out of the blue, like you turn a corner and there's 3 or 4 people running towards you and they're really geared, and you just somewhere completely not expecting it, then you do still get it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this makes me want to play DayZ later today.
you get it a little bit in a slightly different way if you're on a character that's maybe had 7, 8, 9 hours doing a quest or something, and you get that kind of feeling, but from a different perspective. You're not really worried about the gear, but you're like, if I can just do this next thing, then this is going to be the best video of the last many months, So you get kind of like content fear a little bit, because you're afraid that if you die now, the video is going to be ruined, because it's very hard. That's one thing that's kind of hard to do, is to get really good stories for YouTube videos whilst you're playing on a live stream. And so sometimes you might have to do 50, 80 hours or more to get a really good story, of gameplay. And then if you're on this really good run and 8 hours in, you die being shot in the back of the head at a well or something, it's all kind of ruined, you know, like So you get it a little bit from that too.
Yeah, I would understand, especially for somebody like you. Well, that's kind of what happened with your stories in Deer Isle or on Namalsk, you know, when you spent, I don't know how long the series was. By the way, super interesting series. I was so captivated by that story of Deer Isle, to be honest with you.
Oh, Deer Isle's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it was so fun for you, but also for the viewer.
Yeah.
I think I heard you talk about that it took you 3 months.
Yeah, well, that's the talking about what we were just talking about. It took me 3 months to complete a quest. It's a really hard, like a treasure hunt quest, but on a full server, it's really hard. And the first time I did it, I got into the final zone, which is like an aircraft carrier in a gas zone. So you have to wear a full NBC suit. Yeah. And I looted this rare gun the first time I'd got into this room. And then I picked up this RPD LMG 100-round mag. And I put the mag in. I was like, this could be fun. I'll just fire the 100 bullets. No one's around. Only I'm in here. This is great. I'll just fire it. It'll be a laugh. And the second bullet hit a grenade on the other side of the room. And there's 10 grenades in the room. And they all exploded in a chain and killed me. So I'd spent 3 months trying to do this quest and then blew myself up in the finals. Yeah. And that was the end of a 4-part video, you know. And yet people say I fake my content, you know. Like, I spent 3 months trying to do something and killed myself by accident in the final zone.
To be honest with you, I remember that moment. I remember that video. But that was so much fun. You know, I felt your pain through the video, quite frankly.
I think that's one of the things. Like, I'm pretty good at DayZ. I'm very good at map knowledge, and I'm quite good at the game in general. Yeah. But I don't believe I'm like Tauprec or Soursweet or Holyrex and many others. They're absolutely. They could be very, very good at other games like CS or whatever, you know. I'm just more of a kind of normal gamer in terms of my level of ability in PvP, but my experience makes up for it a little bit. So when I have a good run, people are kind of rooting for it, and when I do something stupid, people find it funny, you know. And it's fine, you know. I'm certainly I wouldn't be able to go on Battlefield 6 and be like one of the top 50 streamers on it or something, you know. I'd be terrible.
You and I together, that's for sure. But talking about your career in streaming, let's say, obviously, from what I understand, kind of happened by accident. You didn't necessarily plan for it. And, you know, you were just kind of doing these videos for yourself. But talk to me about why did you start kind of recording your gameplay in the beginning?
Yeah, I do feel lucky in it. And I think it's quite a good route to try and get into something like this, in that it was never really, it was never a plan. I got the game because of Frankie on PC's Arma 2 series, and I was watching that in December 2013, and I'd never heard of the game, and I just got a PlayStation 4 for COD Ghosts, and I was kind of had enough of that sort of genre of game. COD Ghosts kind of tipped me over the edge. I didn't like it, and I found this game, and I was like, what? You can do what you like, and you can be friendly or you can shoot. I just found the concept amazing, so I got it and I started playing it. And when I first got it, I didn't even have a graphics card in my PC. I didn't know what I was doing or anything. So I was actually, I nearly gave up. Like I was in Solnici in Chernihiv with a broken leg, didn't know how to fix it, didn't know what I was doing. And 2 guys came up to me. One of them was called Blackhawk and the other was called Scan. And they were like, you need to do this to fix your leg. Do you want to come into our TeamSpeak server? This is before Discord. And I was like, what's a TeamSpeak server? And they had the patience in the game to describe to me how to download TeamSpeak, how to find their TeamSpeak server. And then I teamed up with them. And I started playing with them every time I played, you know, once or twice a week or whatever. And as we played over the next few months, we bumped into other people and we did the same thing with those as well. And we built up a little group of 8 or 10 people. And in that group, 2 or 3 of them were making YouTube videos. And I'd be playing with them on the Friday and I'd describe what had happened when I played on my own on the Tuesday. And they were like, why didn't you record? You could have uploaded it. And if you'd have uploaded it, we could have seen it. And so they kind of talked me into trying to do it. So I started playing the game in January. My first video was just at the end of July 2014.
Hi, this is just a little video to try and test out some gameplay today. I'm just editing for the first time, trying to trap a zombie. This is where it starts.
And I have kind of an addictive personality. And so once I'd kind of got over the hump of trying to start editing, I kind of got addicted to trying to get better and trying to get people to watch the videos and like the videos or comment or whatever. I got addicted to, I didn't really like editing, but I was really, really keen on what happened once the video released. I found it really exciting. So I just dove head into it and just like went all out for it, was sharing my videos on the DayZ forums and the Reddits and stuff. And it kind of grew relatively quickly. I know, not quick, but by DayZ standards then it was okay, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I would imagine that it would, well, I wouldn't say easier, but probably the exposure was easier to get back then than it is now. But again, the game was less popular than it is now. So
I think it wasn't personally. There was no YouTube Shorts back then. If you make a YouTube short that's something like Insane Mosin 700-meter snipe, you could have no subscribers and hit an algorithm today in a way that you couldn't then. If you wanted to grow from 0 subs in 2014, you had to go to the DayZ forums or the DayZ Reddit and take an absolute shilling from people there that don't want you to be spamming your content. Like to go from 0 to 1,000 subs, you had to go out and market yourself in a way that with TikTok and with YouTube Shorts and things like that, with algorithms that are much more in your favor now, you don't need to do. You could make a good DayZ short with a good title and get thousands of views without any history on YouTube today, and you definitely couldn't do that in 2014. I think it's harder then than now to start. There are other things that are different for sure. Like there are more people playing the game, and there was less then, and there was fewer streamers, and maybe there was a bit less competition. But it was to go from nothing to something. I think was harder then than now. I think personally, because it involved an awful lot of. Like, it's not just you could go to the DayZ Reddit to share your video. You had to live on the DayZ Reddit because you had to be like, one post is my content, 10 are not, 10 are just in getting involved in the DayZ community. Because if you just posted your own videos, nobody would care. You had to be on the Reddit and be seen. So you had to live a life on the Reddit. You had to be trying to learn how to edit your videos and whatnot. And it was quite hard to get going. But it was more about little moments, like little silly moments that are funny, and people might just click and watch that 3-minute video. And if 100 people watch it, 3 might subscribe. Yeah. And then gradually that snowball becomes, 300 people watch it and 9 people subscribe and so on, and it gradually grows slowly.
Yeah, I totally understand that. And it makes sense. Obviously, I mean, you've been through the whole experience back then and also now, so you would have a clearer understanding. But talk to me about streaming then. So first you were uploading the videos and you were doing the whole hassle of...
I started on YouTube, and then in my mind, for whatever reason, I remember that when I was talking to my friends back then about videos, my answer was, I really don't want to learn how to edit, but I think I could be quite good at streaming. I'd like to stream, but I'm not just going to start streaming with nobody watching. I think it would do my editing. So I did the thing I didn't want to do and learnt to edit, and I started streaming by accident. So my streaming stuff was all accidental. So in my head, I didn't want to stream until I'd got 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. I thought for some reason that was in my mind, I'm not going to stream at all until then. And I didn't really give any thought to it. And then I was invited into the Survivor Games qualifier. So me and another YouTuber called Barely Infected, who's kind of retired now, but he's a lovely guy. Check his our videos out if you're watching. Barely Infected, definitely. He made some really sweet videos on DayZ back in the day. But me and him played in a Survivor Games qualifier, and you had to stream that. So that was my first. I did one stream to make sure I could work it, and then I did one stream to be in the Survivor Games qualifier. And this was January, February of 2015-ish. And then after that, once every 2 or 3 weeks, I streamed just to talk. Because back then, YouTube streaming wasn't really a thing. So I streamed on Twitch. Yeah. And I streamed once every 2 or 3 weeks just to talk to the people watching my videos. And I thought it was a good way to communicate live. And I streamed a couple of times. And one stream somewhere mid-April, after I'd streamed 3 or 4 times, somebody in my chat said, "You seem quite natural to stream, and why are you only doing it every 2 or 3 weeks?" And I'm so dumb. I was like, I don't know why I'm not doing it. All right. So at the end of April 2015, I started streaming 3 or 4 times a week to a vague schedule. That was at the end of April. By June, I was Twitch partnered. So I started 20-ish, 25 viewers, but within 2 months, it was a consistent 100 viewers. And was doing well, but my YouTube videos were growing. So around that time, I went from 4,000 subscribers to about 7,000 subscribers. My YouTube channel was growing quite well. And so they were feeding into Twitch. And I think that's been one of the things that's worked for me, is that I never didn't do YouTube. So I've always been finding new viewers from YouTube that would then gravitate towards the streams, like from video content to live stream content, like I'd never stopped doing both. Wow. And I did sort of stumble into it really without planning it. And then once I got partnered, at that point, I was like, actually, if I really went for this, I think I could do it for a living. So it was probably about a year from starting until I actually thought maybe this could be not just a bit of fun. I might actually be able to do it for a living if I focus on it a bit more.
Wow, that's such an interesting origin story, let's say. And it's so interesting that it's organic and it kind of happens step by step. You weren't, let's say, forced into it. But talk to me about some of the pressures from the outside. So you were concentrating, trying to figure out the streaming career and this content creator career, but I'm assuming you had a job, probably your family also around you. How did, you navigate any problems that might have happened from that?
Lots of things have happened in my time since I became a full-time streamer. So at the time when I got Twitch partnered, I had a wife who I have been broken up with not long after that. I have 2 kids, which I see all the time. I still talk to her because we look after the kids. So we're getting on fine. But yeah, lots of things have happened in my time that led to it. So one of the things that drove me into YouTube editing and streaming is that I used to be an addicted gambler, and I used streaming. This is the thing that's the origin story that's the coolest for me, is that what drove me into the editing and the streaming, and what drove my focus onto that, was a need to get away from horse racing and gambling and odds and like ruining my life, basically. Wow, so I effectively gave up gambling by focusing on YouTube and then Twitch, and that became my career and turned my life around. So if I hadn't been an addicted gambler, I wouldn't be here as a streamer right now, I don't think, which is somewhat weird in a way.
Wow.
But yeah, it was tricky. Just being completely honest, at that time, me and my ex-wife were probably not getting on that great. We had kids that were, say, 5 and 2, 6 and 3. Quite stressful. I had a job where I was working 8 till 6. She used to go to bed early because she commuted to London, so she'd go to bed and I'd stream from the conservatory from about 9 p.m. She was in bed because she was getting up really early to go to London for work, and I was sitting downstairs on my own, so I just started streaming or started editing or whatever it was, so yeah. But yeah, it was tricky, and there is phases of it where it's quite hard, especially if you're doing a full-time job and then trying to find the time, especially with kids. So it was tricky, but because I'd got myself into debt and because I was in so much trouble of my own cause, I threw myself into it both as a means to give up gambling, and then when I saw it could maybe be a side hustle that might help clear my gambling debts, I drove into it from that perspective as well. So about the time I got Twitch partnered, I was saying to my ex, I know I've caused this debt, but I genuinely believe this is the way that I'm going to get out of it. I'll work full time, I'll do this on the side, and anything I earn on the side, I'll just pay off the debt, and in a few years it'll be gone, or a year or two, or whatever. But by 6 months after that, I'd cleared all the debt.
Wow.
I'd cleared it all. I cleared it all by about maybe 7. It was about February of the next year.
Oh my goodness.
But I'd cleared it pretty quickly. Yeah.
Wow. Very, very deep and a bit of a difficult start in that sense. That's for sure.
It was. I wasn't driven by money to start streaming in terms of making money. I was driven in a way by money, though, because it was my focus to get away from gambling. I do have an addictive personality, and I was tremendously unhappy at the time, and maybe I was sort of using it as an escape, or I know I wasn't feeling very good in my own self, and I was feeling like I'd not achieved anything in life, and I should have done better. I'd always been a bit too lazy. I'd been quite intelligent when I was younger, but never applied myself, and I stuck in a job I didn't like.
Right.
And I feel like gambling was like, I was quite good at finding horses that were an outsider that had a better chance of winning than their odds reflected. But the problem is, if a horse is 50-1 and finishes second, you don't win anything if you're stupid enough to be betting only to win, like I was. I lost a lot of money, but I felt like I could know something that others didn't, and clearly I couldn't. I was just being stupid. But anyway, yeah, that's what drove me into it, and I guess it's kind of good that it is. I certainly don't gamble anymore. Haven't done since then, so it certainly helped me get rid of that.
Yeah. Well, that's really, really good. I know that gambling, on the surface, it seems like, oh, yeah, I'll just kind of do it once or twice. But if you have, as you said, an addictive personality, I've had friends who really went into gambling quite a lot, and more or less a story like you, where the family kind of got in trouble and whatnot. But then obviously they came out of it, successfully. But in any case, I do know the pressure of having a little kid, because I've got a 3-year-old.
Oh yeah,
so I can't only imagine how you were doing the streaming and the editing and also working. It's man, it must. And plus you had 2 kids, so that's even crazier.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're quite lucky. Had some help from my parents. We were both working during the day, but my parents would look after him a couple of times a week, and her parents would do 1 time a week or twice a week or whatever. We were they went to nursery as well. So, but yeah, no, it was. It was a pretty tough time all in, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I think, thankfully, now, later, the breakup was the right thing. I think my kids are pretty happy. They're well looked after. They come and see me all the time. I see them, and I'm involved in and I was on the phone yesterday to an orthodontist booking an appointment for my 13-year-old. I'm involved quite heavily in their parenting. Yeah. But yeah, it was pretty tricky back then.
Well, thank God that everything turned out great. You're successful. You get out of that. You took a different turn from the bad road that you were going on. So that's the most important thing. So you were not a full-on gamer. You were just kind of a casual gamer. And as you said, when you just started streaming and uploading, you didn't really have a graphics card. So I know that once you get, I wouldn't say addicted, but once you get interested in something, like, for example, content creation, you tend to be like, well, how can I improve my content? How can I improve my, my setup? How did you kind of slowly but surely learn your way through the setup, through the graphics cards and what you need to buy, the microphones and everything?
I've always been kind of I've got quite a good setup now, but in the beginning, I was very much not that. So I used to take inspiration from, there was a YouTuber called Robass who's still around now. He's a really cool guy. He used to use his headset mic and he had over 1 million subscribers. Summit at the time was using his headset mic, and he was one of the biggest streamers on Twitch, as he still is. I don't think he does now, but I've always been kind of anti, I'll get more viewers if I get a more expensive microphone. I'll get more viewers if I do this. I was very much more about trying to create something that was interesting for people to watch. And if my voice doesn't sound as good as it might because I'm not using some really fancy mic and a mixer, well, they're not going to sub because my voice sounds right necessarily. I think what happens in the video matters more. So I've always tried to put the I don't like the term, but the content first, really. Even now, I don't look at my stats. I don't look at my revenue. I don't look at anything after the fact. I just try to have a good stream. I try to enjoy the stream, and I do think about what I've done wrong, and I do still even now think I'm dwelling too much on certain things, or I'm getting hooked by a troll too much, or I still think about what I can do better, but I focus on me and the content. I don't focus on much else, ever. I never have. I don't see the point, because people don't sub because you've got a nice transitional screen. They don't come back because of something like that. They all help. But what you need to do is try to make a connection with the audience, and then if they connect with you, they'll come back. And so I've always focused on that more so. I remember. So I got, obviously I had a graphics card before I ever made a video, but I remember I was on 21 subscribers on YouTube, and I was in debt for the reasons I already described. I didn't have any money, and I bought a £1,000 PC on eBay secondhand with 21 subscribers on YouTube. And I believed that I could grow a channel, even though I only had 21 subscribers. So I bought this PC. It had a 780 Ti in it and a 4770K Intel processor. And that was the PC I made my first video on. And I got Twitch partnered on that same PC, So it was a good investment, but it did seem like a crazy thing to do at the time, because I was massively in debt and I had no money and I had next to no space left on my credit card, and I put another $1,000 on it to buy a PC, which probably didn't go down well at the time, but turned out to be a good decision for me anyway,
Since we are talking about the setup, could you kind of talk about your setup now? What are you rocking? Just so we...
Yeah, well, I for somebody that's never really concerned themselves with stuff, I'm very pleased. This is not really meant to be coming up, I guess, but I'm sponsored by PC Specialist, so I have a PC from them. And I have a 5090 Asus something or other. Nice. But I have a 5090. It's a Intel 13900K is the processor, and I can't remember the rest. 64 gig of DDR5 RAM of some sort. But awesome. I'm genuinely not. I used to work in retail and I was massively into tech and stuff, but nowadays I'm not very much. I'm not quite as bad as some, there are some streamers out there that haven't even set up their own OBS. I'm not that bad.
Oh, no.
I've set it all up and I've learned how to do these things, but with regards to, I'm not a... Yeah, I got the new graphics card because it's better for streaming. It has 3 NVENC codec or NVENC chips. So if I'm streaming to Twitch and I'm streaming to YouTube and I'm recording at the same time, it can cater for that quite well.
Yeah,
because I only use one rig, So the 5090 is an absolute beast card for streaming. You don't need it for DayZ, but for streaming at the same time as recording to a couple of different platforms, it's really handy to have.
Definitely. No, for sure. What mic do you use? Because you sound always so great.
I have an Audio Technica AT2020 USB mic, and it's not nothing. This is how it sounds out the box. I've done nothing at all to it. It's just, the only thing I'm quite closely mic'd, so my lips are pretty much touching the pop filter, which is, it's a $9.99 arm from Amazon, £9.99, with a £5.99 pop filter. And I've had the same arm as long as I've been streaming. I've changed the pop filter 3 times though. But yeah, I very luckily, Audio Technica sent me the mic for free as well. I didn't even buy it. I messaged them on Twitter and said, are you ever going to start a stream team? And they said no. I was like, wow, well, that's a shame. But they sent me a mic anyway, which was kind of nice of them. So yeah,
that's pretty cool.
A lot of people put a lot of effort into microphones, and I think it's a good thing. But maybe I've been quite lucky. I hate the sound of my own voice like everyone else does, but I think my voice helped me in the beginning. My accent being English and maybe the way I talk helped me grow a little bit compared to how some might have found it with the same kind of crappy content that I was releasing when I started. But I've never, it's just a £90 mic, I think it costs or whatever, straight out the box. I haven't got it plugged into anything at all. The only thing I use is a noise gate on OBS, and that's it. And obviously OBS isn't even open right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would definitely agree about the fact that your voice is, plays a role, right? You have a kind of a soothing voice, and it's easy to listen to your voice for long periods of time. And as you said, you're very fluent. You speak, I wouldn't say too fast, not too slow. The cadence is great. And again, I think the Audio Technica mic was the perfect one. It sounds so good. I was thinking probably it was a Shure SM7 or something like that. But it sounds really good.
I think it's their standard USB mic. Yeah, it's pretty good though.
Talking about sponsors, because I know sometimes sponsors reach out to the content creators. Sometimes content creators reach out to the sponsors. What was it like for you the first time around? How did you get to the point where either you received the first email or you emailed the sponsor for the first time?
You see, I'm not taking many sponsors, so I feel very lucky to be in a position with how things are going now that I don't need to. But even when I needed to before, I never took any sponsorships. So I know I'm sponsored by PC Specialist, but I know them and I believe in them. And so how I got them was a bit like that Audio Technica story, but I was following them on Twitter. They tweeted something and I just replied to their tweet saying, "Hi, I play DayZ. It's out on console. There's lots of people playing it on console and they might gravitate towards PC and they might gravitate towards PC on your platform from you, I'm a UK streamer, and they DM me and I've been sponsored by them ever since, so that's how I got PC Specialist. I don't do many sponsorships though. So, just a good example of that right now, I am buying a product called Thrive, which is like meal prep. I'm buying it with my own money. Meanwhile, I'm being offered quite a lot of money to promote HelloFresh and not doing it. Not because I'm against HelloFresh, but I just don't. I spent nearly 20 years in retail selling things and doing things and being told to sell things in a certain way. And I'm kind of resisted to it now. I only take a sponsorship if I believe in it. So if it's a product I actually am interested in, I'll only do a sponsored game if it's a game I would genuinely play. And so that very much minimizes what I do. I even the games where I could do them, like recently Scum has come up, and not directly from Scum, but from an agency. And my hourly rate, if I play a game like that, is the best hourly rate it'll be all year. But I just said no the last couple of times. I don't really enjoy it very much. I like to just do my own thing. You know? No, not so much the game. Scum's a good game.
The whole process.
It's not necessarily for me, but Scum has its merit. It's a good game. It's just, I don't enjoy the stream is the thing. Scum's been out 5 years, and when you stream a game like Scum, people come in to watch you that are playing it every day, and they're absolutely addicted to it. And I'm fumbling around like I've got 2 hours in it because I haven't played it for 5 years. And I don't enjoy that very much. I just don't like it. I would pay money not to do it, which is why I choose not to take the money to do it, if that makes sense, you know. But I am very much different. I don't know if it's because I'm a bit older. Like most people, I just went to Prague with DayZ in June, and a lot of the people that were there have a manager and someone that talks to agency or an agent or whatever agency. And they get sponsors lined up and they're like, we think you should do this. It'll be really good. I've never done any of that. I've never had a manager or an agent. I get emails all the time from sponsors because my business email is out in a few different places where people can find it, I guess. But I try to reply, but I tend to reply politely saying, I don't do loot boxes. I don't do mobile phone games. I don't do VPNs. I don't do that. So I try to cover everything they know I won't do so that they try to only email me for something that, like if it's a PC game and I'm interested in it, I might do it. Beyond that, I probably won't. So yeah, which is not the norm. I appreciate. I do think it's helped me though in that. Yeah. If you're a creator, I don't really think of it this way, but you are kind of selling yourself. You have a brand, of course. Yeah. And if you're somebody that takes every sponsorship because it's really good in the now, what about in 5 years' time, you know? Like, what about when your audience gets like, hang on a minute, he was plugging the other one of those last week. Now he's plugging this one. Like, how many different... Like, I get offered money to promote DayZ servers, for example. Like, I've probably been, over the years, been offered that 200 times maybe, and I've never done it, you know? Because if I promoted a different DayZ server every week for money, what is that saying to my DayZ audience, you know? He doesn't actually care about this game. He's just going to promote anything that people will pay him for, whether he plays on it or not, you know? Like, I don't want... So maybe that's helped in the long term maintain a bit of an audience, but it does mean that I'm probably turning down 50% more revenue every year, I guess. I don't know. I used to work in electrical retail where I had to sell a TV with an extended warranty and I had to get something on it like a cable or a stand or a wall bracket. And if we just sold the telly on its own, it was no good and you got yourself in trouble. You know, you had to. And being forced to do that over and over again for a year, like, it's made me very anti doing it with my own stuff, you know? Like, if you want to come and watch, I'm very grateful, but I'm not going to push you to do anything. So I don't promote I don't promote people to subscribe on Twitch, as in pay. I don't promote memberships. I don't try to encourage things. I've done one, you know, like people might do a subathon or they might do a raising thing. I once, this is sad, in 2015, I did a raising to try and raise money for a Corsair H100i, which was a cooler for my processor. And it was £120. And I did it once. And this was a long time ago. And I felt like shit afterwards. So I've never done it since, you know. There was nothing wrong with it. And I see other creators like, I need a new graphics card. I'm raising for that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But for me personally, I've always been like, I'll just keep streaming. And if people want to do anything like that, great. And we'll see how it goes, you know. And thankfully for me, that's been pretty good, you know.
The next thing I want to talk about is your, you know, the famous intro music that you have, right? Yeah. When I hear that tune, you know, it just really like, I know that I'm in for an amazing adventure. Not only me, but also all your subscribers. I understand that there's been some kind of an issue lately. So what I want to ask you is how, you know, basically the origin story of that. How did you find that song, and then kind of what's going on now with it?
So the song's fine. There's nothing wrong with the song. The song is made by a creator called Labish, who I think his surname was Labish, perhaps, but it was on a website called Argo Fox that has copyright-free music on YouTube, and I was looking for something to use as an intro 10 plus years ago, and I really loved that song. I heard it, I was like, I love that. I really love it, and it's copyright-free, so I was like, I'll use that. And it's still copyright-free. The song's fine. I still use it all the time. There's another issue with my old intro, which we'll get to in a sec, but that I've used that intro forever and a day. And if you go to Argo Fox now, that same where I found it years ago, it's still linked in my description. most of the comments are people saying I came here from the Running Mans or whatever. So it has become associated with my channel. And I really love that. You know, I used to love the music that Frankie on PC used in his videos that was related to the Robin Williams film, Sometimes When You Win, You Lose. And I loved when that music kicked in. It used to really give you a feeling for the video, like often at the end or the beginning or whatever. I loved it. Now,
definitely.
Mine is maybe not so famous as that, or as his was perfect, but I love it. And it's not mine. I have tried to reach out to the creator of the music. I found him on Twitter. He had an email address, and I sent him an email a long time ago saying, I've grown a channel and I've used your song all the way through. Is there anything I can do to help you in any way or whatever? Never heard back from him, because probably the email address he created was for that music, and he was at college or uni at the time, made that song and probably not thought about it for 10 years. You know?
Oh my God, okay.
But yeah, the issue I had when I first started streaming on YouTube was around my intro, but not the music intro, it was the video. So I had like
the video. Okay.
I had like an intro which was a world spinning with the names of Chernerus maps above the top and a running man along the world as it span. But that's something that you could download you could pay a license to have that and amend it yourself. It's just like a CAN thing you can get off the internet. And someone else has used the same thing in a music video, and they're backed by Universal Music Group. You can literally buy a license to use that, but they don't know that. They've had someone make it for them. So anytime I start my intro with that, I get a copyright claim from Universal Music Group for a video that you can literally pay a license to use. But they're so big. There's just like, what happens is they put in a claim and I just say, that's not true. I don't believe it. And they hide my stream for 7 days. And then at the end of 7 days, it just gets reinstated. So if I use it, my streams aren't viewable for a week. And so they literally just put in a claim and never follow it up. And that's what happens, basically. It kind of sucks.
Yeah, it definitely does suck. But I mean, as you said, they're so big that probably all the emails you sent.
Yeah, I tried to contact, but there's never anyone that you can actually speak to.
Yeah,
it did occur to me to copyright strike theirs, because I've been using I'd been using the intro on my streams for 7 months before their video came out. So it occurred to me they were copyright striking things from before their video released, which doesn't seem feasible to me, you know. You're using our video 7 months before we created it, you know. But nonetheless, I just didn't see the point. I just changed to a different starting soon screen and got on with my day, you know.
Okay. Got it. And the creator of the song, so he, throughout all this time, he never, or she, or never reached out to you, right?
He never did. I tried to contact him. Obviously, he's linked. He had a SoundCloud, and it's linked on all of my videos. Always has been. And but no, I think he had a Twitter under the same name, and I don't think he's posted on it since like 2019 or something. I've no idea.
Oh man, it's such a shame that he doesn't know that that song has. It's such a great.
I really like it. It's
really
so
good.
stupid, but every time I start a stream, it's playing, and I hear it, and I like it every day. I really do. I think it's great.
It's really, really good. Plus, you have like little remixes of it. I think is that right?
Yeah, that's something I should mention. Like along the way, like I have been lucky with that. People like Wilson has made some really cool anthemic. Changes rock versions and so on, and others.
It's so good.
There's another guy called Sound Engineer that made an acoustic version, and I have been lucky with streaming in that a lot of my things, like I was talking about how I wasn't concerned about having a transition. One of my mods made me a transition. You know, I didn't even know there was such a thing as a transition. You know, like he made me a transition, and I'm so useless. He had to send it to me with instructions on how to add it to OBS. So along the way, there's been some people that have really helped my channel. In the early days,
so
there was a guy called Gael Level who has a YouTube channel, Gael. He has a YouTube channel. He's from France, and he made my YouTube intro. He made my logo from scratch. He used to be a graphics designer, and now he's doing YouTube. But he was a viewer, and he really connected with my channel back then, and he was watching a lot. He designed my logo. So I do think that if you just start the stream and start having fun and building a community, as you go, you might find some people that can help you along the way, you know. Like, I'm not saying everything should be free, like, but I certainly don't want to do things for nothing. Like Euro, who we were just talking about, who made my transition, he made my starting soon screen, and he's made all sorts of things. Like when somebody subs, there's a little spinning Running Man logo. He made that, you know.
No way, that's awesome.
But He also only just started yesterday, but he's set up my merch store with Fourth Wall, and he's made some of the artwork, but we're just splitting whatever it makes 50-50, you know. So I don't want to. I've never been like, please make me that. Also, I don't want to pay. I've paid lots of people to make artwork along the way, you know, where I needed it. But I've also managed to resource from people watching stuff without asking, you know. I never, like Gail Level made me an intro, and it's amazing for YouTube. I didn't even know he was making it. It just turned up on my email one day, and I was like, what?
Oh my God.
And so I tried to sort of pay that back in whatever way I can over time, you know, with like helping them with whatever. Or like when he made that intro, he made a how I made the intro thing. So I went and shared it on Reddit and got it some traction and tried to get him some attention back, kind of thing, you know. But
oh wow.
Yeah, I've certainly had help along the way from a number of people, and a lot of people in terms of artwork, but a lot of people like moderating the channels and people that come and help keep the chats a nice place to be and stuff. Except Redline. He's useless.
You said you were sometimes commissioning art and whatnot. I just kind of want to transition the question towards the thumbnails. Why? Because it's a funny story. Well, maybe not a funny story, but for me, it's funny. So as I said, this channel was first me and my friend streaming DayZ.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were streaming just for ourselves. And then eventually we're like, well, let's just stream it for everybody, see whatever, you know, what happens. We got like one viewer, nothing special. Yeah. But I was really focused on the thumbnails. I'm like, let's try to make a cool thumbnail. And we were looking at your thumbnails and of the other, you know, at the thumbnails of other creators in the let's say, in the DayZ universe. And to this day, I don't quite understand how your thumbnails are made. Are those like separate assets, or, you know, does your thumbnail artist perhaps go into the game and, you know, mod it in a way where he could use the 3D models, or what is it? Just, so if you can share it.
A lot of the thumbnails for the first 7 or 8 years were made by me, and they were just a screen grab from my editing software. So I just used to go trawl through the video once it was edited and find a shot where I was shooting someone through a scope and there was some blood or whatever, you know, like, yeah. So they were all kind of made simply, and my skills in terms of thumbnails are very limited. A lot of the modern ones are made by Uncooper. So I have 2 editors. Uncooper makes the thumbnails. When they're any good, he's made them. But he tends to go into the DayZ offline editor. And he can spawn in avatars, and he can get so the most recent one that came out is 3 people standing on a boat aiming at somebody in the water. So he'll have spawned in a boat, he'll have spawned in the 3 players, chosen what clothes they wear, and so it can do it relatively quickly offline and create that. So it's DayZ assets, and it's done in using that, but he's got a skill for it that I don't have. Uncooper, the one thing I can say for sure is that both of my editors, Finn and Uncooper, are better at editing than I am. Uncooper's better at making thumbnails than I am. But you don't need to be the best at making thumbnails, or you don't need to be the best editor to grow a channel. You need to apply yourself, and you need to be you, I think. You know, I'm sure somebody like Uncooper he has a YouTube channel himself. I'm sure he can grow and do great on his own channel. It's just a lot of time and a lot of application and a lot of luck.
For sure.
Know. But yeah, I certainly, the thumbnails, the good ones are all made by somebody else.
No, they're really, really awesome. And I'm so thankful to hear the answer from you, because I was breaking my head over it, because I thought perhaps maybe, you know, these are literal Photoshop drawings. So the person was drawing them. And I was like, no, maybe it's like 3D models downloaded from the internet. But turns out it's spawned within the map and then placed. That's really cool.
And he'll be using
the thumbnails are amazing, by the way.
He'll be using some Adobe things to make it look a little different in some ways, you know. But yeah, there's lots of effort that people can go into to make videos. Like people like JLK go into the offline to make an intro that's like a 2-minute long thing that leads into the video that's not actually in the game. He's recorded it all off in the offline editor and stuff. People are doing a lot of different techniques, and it's never been my approach, not because I'm lazy, but for me, there was a few things I wanted to do when I started the channel. I wanted to be just me. I didn't want to be a character. I just wanted to be me and just try to be me every day and have fun. But I wanted to play the game the same way everybody else did and just share my experience of the game. So I try not to overly stylize. I try not to do, not because I don't think they work. I think they're great. JLK's videos are amazing, but I'm trying to be more of I'm playing DayZ and this is what happened kind of thing, you know, like rather than I've spent a week offline recording specifically for a theme, which is absolutely amazing. It's much harder to do. Stuff like Frankie on PCs, where he's probably got a storyboard before he started recording anything, and they're much harder to do than what I do, which is just play the game, and if I throw enough shit, some sticks and makes a video, But I actually just love playing the game, so I'm quite happy to do that, So I really just wanted to do that, just be me and play the game, and if I can make that into a story that people want to watch, brilliant.
Got it. Well, that's your signature. The Running Man's, Paul. That's exactly what the viewer expects and what you're providing, and it's working perfectly well. I'm obviously subscribed, and I try to follow your streams as much as I can whenever I have the time to follow through. But just to switch the subject a little bit, we talked about this in the beginning when we just connected. In terms of like the future of your channel and what your plans can be. Currently, you're not on other social media platforms like on Instagram and TikTok. Well, as you said, someone else is imitating you. What are your plans for the future of the channel? Would you think of going into the other social media channels? And generally, what's your vision for it?
I'm not really a very good vision guy. I really should be, shouldn't I? I having gone through the house move I've gone through and moving into my own, it's given me some time to try and think about things I want to do. So the first thing this year, amongst others, but I wanted to try and slightly adjust my own streaming personality a little bit. I've been quite unhappy for the last couple of years, and so I wanted to try and get back to being a bit more me. Like, if you're unhappy in your real life, it's going to affect your streams, So my main focus is always the streams every day, and I want to try and improve those. And I do think more last week or 2, 3, 4 weeks, I am starting to become a little bit more settled and become a bit more like myself again, which helps the streams so much. But I also wanted to start a proper merch site that integrates with YouTube, and so that's happened only yesterday. But that's kind of nice to have the integration, so that somebody watches a YouTube video and they can, he sells a t-shirt or a mug or whatever, that's there. I should have had that years ago. And I really ought to try and get into TikTok, but these things just, I've never been one that like must do everything straight away. So my main focus every week are the main plates that I'm spinning, which are making sure I stream enough hours, making sure that I'm liaising with the editors and trying to release as many videos as I can. As in, we try to have a stream Sunday to Thursday every day, and ideally an edited video on a Saturday. And just to keep that rolling with the edited video is quite hard to do. So sometimes we miss the edited video. Usually that's because I've taken some time. Like when I went to Prague in June, if I'm not there for a week, I can't record and stream, so I can't get footage for it. So we end up missing a video or two. But my main focus is those things, because those things are like YouTube is like a snowball rolling down a hill, and it just gradually gets bigger. But the snowball stops rolling if you don't keep streaming and you don't keep making videos. So my focus is always mainly on that, just keeping the train rolling slowly. Or how many more analogies can I throw in? But the next thing probably down the line is to try and get somebody that I know and trust to try and work with me on a TikTok channel. So Euro is doing the merch with me. I probably need someone to do TikTok. Not so bothered about Instagram. Maybe I should be, but I think TikTok is probably the place where I should be doing shorts. I've tried YouTube shorts. I don't particularly like them. I don't really like the effect they have on my channel. I don't think they really help my channel very much, but I should probably be doing shorts on TikTok. And if I had somebody that was able to bang out a short every day, like there's 10 years worth of content on my channel, so people could be selecting new stuff from today's stream or going back to a video from 7 years ago, whatever. But I could be having a daily short coming out on TikTok. I just can't do it. I can't live my life, and I'm trying to be healthy at the moment. So I'm like, in the morning, I stream from about 1, and I normally stream for about 8 hours, give or take, sometimes more, sometimes a bit less. But I can't have some kind of life in the morning where I'm tidying the house and trying to do a bit of exercise and having something to eat, and also manage my editors and keep an eye on Twitter, keep an eye on YouTube comments, talk to sponsors, and run a TikTok. I probably this year maybe need to look at starting a TikTok account rather than the guy or 3 that are pretending to be me on TikTok. There's a few. So I have a presence on TikTok, but none of them are me. And same on Instagram, I gather, as I found out from you earlier.
Yeah, exactly. I followed somebody
So
2 days ago.
if you're following me on TikTok or Instagram, it's not me. It's somebody pretending to me. Don't hit the donate links on those. They're not going to me.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I legitimately thought it was you.
Yeah, I probably need to. One thing I have done, actually, exactly because of these things, I very recently trademarked my logo. So the Running Man logo, it only got authorized in July. But now that it's trademarked, it does make it easier for me. If I go to TikTok, I can say, I can start my own channel, but I can also do something about the channels using my logo because I now properly own the rights to it and other people can't use it so easily. So that I did that with a view to maybe doing TikTok down the line, but it's just it's a bit of a slow process. That we've just done the merch site. We'll see how that goes for a little while. But basically what happens, what normally happens is I talk about ideas that I've got, and then just sort of by osmosis, or let's find another analogy, the right person washes up on the sea, right? Like I'll just talk about it on stream. Like my second editor, Finn, I was talking about how I might want an editor for doing highlights because I've got Uncupa who's doing really good story videos, but I'd like to push a few more videos out. Yeah. But just talking about it on stream, and then I got 8 emails from different editors that day that were watching the stream. And the beauty of that is that they're people that know you and that they enjoy DayZ. So you're actually getting people that are knowing what you're doing. Yeah. And so a couple of people made me some videos, and I ended up like going with Finn, and I've been working with him alongside Uncupa for a good while now. You know, I tend to acquire these things that way. I don't go out and go, I need someone to run my TikTok. I tend to talk about it on stream, and then I find the right person somehow. Yeah. That's
really awesome. As you said, it's such an organic fit between a person who loves your content and is a professional at what you need. Yeah. So it's not like you need to find somebody and tell them who you are and whatnot and go through the whole process. It's
just to be clear to anyone listening, I'm paying these editors, by the way. I'm not just finding people from the stream and then using them for free, just to qualify, okay? They're not washing up on the sea and then I'm working them like slave labor. They are being paid, okay? Just to qualify.
Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, that's good to know, obviously. I think most of us knew that you were obviously paying them. But to talk about DayZ, it's a fantastic game. Say whatever you want about it. For me, I know that for you, it's one of our favorite games for sure. But there are definitely things that they're doing wrong, perhaps, or maybe they could do better. Since you're a veteran in DayZ, what are some of those things you think that are currently, not the best and that you would like to have improved? Yeah, well, one thing I can say is that all gamers, me included, fall into the trap of thinking they know better than the developers quite often. And one thing I can say is that the developers tend to know more than we do. It doesn't mean I agree with everything they do, just getting that out of the way first. So sometimes they might be forced to make a decision for reasons that they can't tell us or they don't want to tell us. So maybe they're making a decision that has implications that the player base might not like, but they have to make that decision because of another reason they can't share with us, whether it's to do with cheating or whether, like, they've recently changed nighttime on first-person servers to be brighter, which is great for streaming because people can actually see what you're doing. Like if I'm playing on a hardcore first-person server, nobody can see for 20 minutes because it's like a black screen. So as a streamer, it helps me, but I actually prefer the nighttime that way. A lot of the player base prefers it to be hardcore. It's a survival game. But the devs make these decisions. They have to see the bigger picture, not just individuals that are mithering because it's now not dark. I think the nighttime on first-person should be dark. The devs don't. They've just changed it. They see a bigger picture, though. People exploit at nighttime. If you're playing on official, there could be 60 people in the server and 15 people queuing, and it goes nighttime and there's 27 people left in the server. What's the point of that? They want the servers to be full. They want the game to be popular. So if more than half of the server are leaving at nighttime, it's very easy for a hardcore player to go, well, they're just not proper DayZ players. They should go and play COD. The devs need to make the game be accessible without watering it down too much. It's a very hard line to top. The biggest one that I have, and the people who watch the stream know, my biggest bugbear with the game right now, beyond the obvious things like there are cheats in PC, there are duping on console, the people that are buying cheats and using them in the game are a problem. But the one that really frustrates me the most and the most anti-DayZ thing they've ever done for me personally is the spawn system on official. It's just shockingly bad. I heard about that.
On official, if you spawn into Chernerus, everybody spawns in the same area for 6 minutes, and then it moves to the next area, and everyone spawns there for 6 minutes, and so on and so on. So if you're on a full server, you spawn in Kamishovo, there's 5 people punching each other, there's 3 people dead at the well, and then the spawn changes to Electro, there's 5 people punching each other, there's 3 people dead at the well, and then you repeat that everywhere you go. Which means that for the one person that wants to play the game, they can pick up as many bandages as they'll ever need, probably a couple of bits of fruit from people that suicided, drink at the well, and then run on somewhere else. But the other side is that you get people that are like, I'm just going to punch new spawns all day, which is fine if they enjoy it. I'm not judging the person. Play the game how you want, but you end up in a situation where somebody punched you out in Kamishovo, and then you spawn in Electro, and they're punching you out again. And they're saying all sorts of things. It can end up feeling like you're in some kind of PUBG waiting room lobby while they're saying ridiculous crap. I miss the game when you spawned in Berezino and you'd been alive 5 minutes and you met somebody else in Berezino that had been there 45 minutes gearing up and staying there because nobody else was there. And that person that's took the time to stay and find some things is the person you team up with because they're kind of a hardcore DayZ fan that's playing the game in a meticulous way, and they're probably going to be a good teammate. When you spawn and there's 8 people around, and half of them are just boxing everyone every spawn, and the other ones are just trying to run away as quick as they can, it takes away the need for or the ability to interact very well and potentially team up with a teammate that you can go off and have an adventure with. And the only reason they've made that change is so that Discord bros can start and play together. So you can have a situation where somebody spawns in as a solo, and at the same time, 3 mates in Discord spawn in, and they're all those 4. Why is that good? The one guy spawns in on his own, and then 3 others spawn in. They've already got Discord. They've already got massive benefits because there's 3 playing in a server with 60. And now they all spawn in the same place so they can bully everybody else. It's the most anti-DayZ thing they've ever done.
Takes away completely from the game.
So that one really frustrates me. And thankfully, I'm very lucky that I've been able to go to DayZ, and so I've very strenuously said that in front of all of the devs, in front of everyone, multiple times. Doesn't mean they're going to change it because, believe it or not, despite what people say that are maybe a bit butthurt, they really don't make changes in the game because of some stream douche like me. They only do things because they think it's right. Sumrak, who makes the decisions, is a very passionate person, and he's very headstrong, so he won't. Like, when I'm talking about this and I'm talking passionately, he's looking at me with a smile on his face going, we know what you think about it, but we're not going to change it, like that. They know their own mind. They won't change something. I am right on this, though. Very little I say. I would say that unconfidently, but it's the worst change they have ever made to the official game, and
for sure,
it'll change back one day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it'll change back one day, or maybe you could have other servers where this could, be taken away, I guess, or modded out. But in terms of the, let's say the how would you call them? Probably the quests, the adventures, like in Deer Isle, for example, or in Namalsk, where there are things to do and objectives to complete. Those are really, really awesome. And again, as we mentioned before, you have made numerous videos about those, and they take you a long time to prepare, and they're very interesting. I was going to ask you, what would be, if you had like the chance to create your own quest on a map of your choice and with the mechanics of your choice, what would it be? And the reason why I'm asking is because many of the quests are find the key card, get the suit, swim across this lake, find the item. So it's a bit more, not the same, but rather similar.
Think,
so what would you think?
I think these things are limited by people's imagination. And if I'm being completely honest, my imagination is not great. I'm quite a good guy for, if a new map comes out, I can play it for a few days and probably be capable of giving good feedback about how balanced it is, or what might actually it's not dark in this area, or maybe that area should be gassed, or whatever, But coming up with a quest, I'm somebody like John McClane that's where who made Deer Isle, and also dealt with Nakatomi Plaza. He's the guy for that. He's got the imagination and the talent to do it. I really haven't, I would like to see some stuff on the base map, Chernerus. I'd like to see them take the gas zone from Riffy Boat and move Riffy Boat to Skilisti, or move it somewhere else not near Berezino. Maybe move it out to sea so you have to use a boat to go there rather than it being on the coast. I'd like to see them take the gas off Pavlovo, because Pavlovo military base is a really cool place for action. Nobody goes there, It's a really cool location from the history of the game. and it's wasted. Same with Radanin on Livonia, not so much because it's a cool location, but it's a good location centrally in the map where you need to go for loot routes, and it's off limits because you need suits. And I'd like to see them put some kind of underground area or some kind of bunker into Chernarus at the airfield would be great. At the Northwest Airfield, something that you had to get to, even if it's just something similar to Livonia. But to be honest, I'm not really good at inventing things because it's just not my thing. There's things I'd like to tweak. Like I don't like the fact that in the bunker on Livonia you have to have 2 players to get to the best loot. Yes, it's great in that it promotes team ups if you're on your own, but what it really does is it just helps Discord team ups. If you're playing with a few people in Discord, you're automatically a shoo-in to do the level 3 of the bunker if you just find a ticket. Whereas if you're on your own, you've got to find a ticket and then you've got to trawl around risking getting killed 100 times. It could take you 6 months to go to level 3 of the bunker, whereas somebody that turns up with their mate, they can do it tomorrow, I know that is part of the adventure of DayZ, but I personally am not keen on anything that benefits 2 players more so than 1. The game, you should be able to do everything as a solo that you can do in a group, personally, I think.
That does make sense for sure, especially on as you said, Livonia, where you're talking about the the underground, and then you have to take the water out, right? Yeah. With the wrench.
You have to have, in order to get to level 3, you have to have somebody on the outside to lower the water. So you have to be floating in water, and then somebody has to turn a lever, and then it rises the water, so you float up with it. You can't be in the water and turning the lever at the same time. You have to have 2. And they've done that on purpose. It was an idea. I think I would imagine it was SummerX idea, I would guess. And the idea is, I've seen people say over the time they really wanted something that they had to do as a 2 because it would promote interaction. My belief is that it doesn't really promote interaction. It just favors groups. That's all it does.
Got it. And, to slowly finish off our conversation here, I know that they've been talking about DayZ 2. Do you kind of know a little bit more about that? What's happening with DayZ 2? Are they going to have the new engine?
No. In the quick word, no. They won't. The only thing I can say, and I've got no news really, but I went to Prague in 2024, and I went again this year to where the game is made and met the devs. Yeah. The year before, in 2024, they were much harder and much more forthright on the fact that there was no thought of DayZ 2. They just kept parroting the same, we're thinking about DayZ in terms of the next 10 years, but right now we want to talk about Sakal, or Frostline as it is called. This time they wanted to talk to us about Badlands, and they were still the same, but this time there was a twinkle in their eye, let's say. There was a wry smile behind it when they were saying it. So this time, for whatever reason, I got the feeling that DayZ 2 is rumbling in the background. But they didn't tell us anything, and if they had, I've signed an NDA, so if they had, I wouldn't be able to say anyway. But they really didn't tell us anything. However, in the way that they behaved and just the wry smiles, they had sort of knowing kind of feeling that maybe this year there's more going on than there was last year, or that they're maybe further along in it than they were. But I genuinely think there will be a DayZ 2. However, I don't think, if you were trying to market it, they've got Badlands that they're going to want to sell in 2026. Armor 4 is coming out in 2027. Yeah. They're not going to like I'll buy Armor 4. I don't really play Armor, but if I knew DayZ 2 was coming 6 months later, I probably wouldn't buy Armor 4, and so they've probably got a run at things. I would guess we're still a few years out, 3 years out, maybe 2028, but it's as much as I love DayZ, it's my favorite game of all time. I'd love there to be a DayZ 2. I'm getting older. I'll be retired before it comes out the way they're going. They need to get a wriggle on.
For sure, yeah. I mean, obviously, I think everybody who likes DayZ is excited about DayZ 2. That's for sure. Quick question: apart from DayZ, obviously that's your career. It's you're streaming that, and it's one of your favorite games. What do you play just for yourself?
Very quick answer. Nothing. Okay. Not anymore. I used to all the time. I was always a console gamer before PC for DayZ, and I used to play Call of Duty constantly all the time. I loved it. So it was my spare time thing, like in the evening, like when my ex-wife was in bed or whatever. But now I get my fix. I love DayZ. It is my favorite game, but I don't. In this room where I'm talking to you now, I'm in here to check my emails or to stream or to watch a video, like a draft video of mine or whatever, I don't feel like I come in here for recreation.
Right.
You know, a bit like, I don't know, to me it feels like if you're a plumber and you spend all week doing your plumbing, at the weekend you're probably quite eager to do other things, you know, like rather than like you're probably not watching YouTube videos on plumbing techniques when you already know what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I tend to I play a few Switch games with the kids like Mario Kart and whatnot every now and then, but I don't do a lot of PC stuff off stream because it doesn't feel like I'm getting a break. I love it. I really love DayZ. Like I'm playing, like Experimental's coming out today as this is recording, 129, and I'm playing with Sour Sweet and Muller today.
Awesome.
And I'm looking forward to playing the new patch, and I'm looking forward to it as a gamer. But because I'll play it for 8 hours in front of an audience, that's enough. I don't need to play it tomorrow morning or something or any other. It just gives me my fix, and that's enough for me. Whereas when I used to go and be in retail doing whatever I did before, gaming was my release, whereas now it's what I do during the day. So other things are my release, whether it's watching a movie or playing pool or going for a walk or whatever, you know.
Got it. Yeah, absolutely. That's so very interesting to know all that. And again, Paul, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I don't know about you, but I had so much fun listening to you. I had a huge smile on my face.
Yeah, it was all right.
The whole.
It was fine. Yeah, it was great.
Thank you. And, thank you for sharing your story, all the intricacies about streaming and sponsorship and everything that we talked about. I'm so excited for the plans that you have set for yourself for the future, slowly but surely. I'd like you to finally have the handle on the other social medias. And take
it is a big miss. It is a bit of a miss, yeah.
You'll get there eventually, I'm sure. But thank you so much for, your time. And, I really appreciate to have the opportunity to chat with you today. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thank you very much. LuvU Bye.